I think the one thing is going to be very interesting tomorrow is watching Puck.
Yeah.
So,
well, she's one of the ones, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So she's sitting up there in GC still. She's in the Best Young Riders jersey. And this will be, once again, her first stage race in her life. And I heard it was only her 10th road race ever, basically. And so, I mean, she could be getting fatigued on stage 8. And it's going to be the longest climb for her. But I think she's a good pick for a possible podium. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I think she'll keep the Best Young Rider. And hopefully she just doesn't crack completely. But I don't know. I think she's going to be an interesting one to watch. We don't know.
What a way to start your stage race career. I've never done one of these, but I finished on my first time I did one. I was podium in the Tour de France. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast, talking about the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. 2 days to go, or 1 day to go after today. But Mel, before we get into all the action, just tell us what did we do today?
Stage 7, Champagnole, tout le Grand Bornand. Champagnole, tout le Grand Bornand.
I mean, I cannot help every day.
She makes it sound
Champagnole. Speaking of pronunciations, we struggled, right, with the pronunciation of our winner today. And it's not even up there in our notes. So
Justine Gacara.
Justine Gacara. Belgium gets a win.
Yeah.
And it was cool. She's in the polka dot jersey. Mm-hmm. She announced before the stage that she is going to go in the break. Mm-hmm. And she did. And then she
with a teammate
and held off the field. And Allie was digging up, as she does, some cool backstory on her. Like a lot of these women, she's I wouldn't say new to the sport, but has not been doing this since she was 10 years old.
Justine's incredible. She just started racing about 4 years ago. She has a degree in physical education. She was a personal trainer. And then this thing called the pandemic hit. And so she couldn't go to work and do personal training. So she hopped on her bike and Zwift. and she won. Her first bike race was technically a Zwift race. And her numbers were so good that the organizers initially thought she had committed data fraud.
Wow.
And now look at this. She's winning the polka dot jersey so far, winning stages of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. Right. And all started from COVID and hopping on a trainer.
And Zwift.
Yeah.
Zwift. Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
By the way, how do you do that? I mean, I think the way to hack it, not to give anybody away any secrets here, but you just put in a different weight. Is that what they would have accused? I'm curious, like would they have accused her of just saying
weight doping?
Yeah, that's a thing.
It is a thing.
It is. Yeah,
it is a thing. And I mean, she is Belgian, we were saying, and she is from Isegem, where I have lived, right. and it's in West Flanders. And you know who else lives there?
Yeah, well,
you know, Johan.
Well, he's from there.
Hometown.
He grew up there. Didn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into all the action, and most importantly, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about tomorrow, stage 8, the last day, up Alpe d'Huez. Lots of thoughts, lots of stuff to share there. So, but before we do, Allie, what do we got?
Well, we're all bike dorks here. We're listening to
for sure
a podcast. So I always like to dive into what bikes the riders are using. So once again, congratulations to Justine. She races for AG Insurance Soudal, which happened to ride Specialized bicycles. Yep. So when you look up at bicycle.com, you can see that they have over 600 Specialized bicycles. Dang. She happened to be on a Tarmac SL8. And if you look at our yellow jersey rider, Cassia, she's on a Canyon Arrow, and there's 160 on Bicycle. So it's pretty cool. Bicycle is a great place to sell and buy bikes. You're listing your bike takes less than 3 minutes. And it can go to people like all over the world, like US and Europe, which is kind of cool. And when the bike sells, you get the money. And Lance, this is our favorite part, really. You don't have to interact with people and selling your bike. Like they send you the box.
I love that part.
Yeah. They send you the box, you ship your bike, you get paid. Or you can shop for a new /loved bike.
Yeah. She should sell her bike.
I bet she could do that.
Yeah.
Bicycle.com. So anyway, it's very cool. And the good thing is you can use the app and use the code THEMOVE for free seller protection. So using the code THEMOVE for free seller protection, list or buy a bike, and there you go.
There we go. Also today brought to you by Roca, based down there in our hometown of Austin, Texas. T-minus gosh, what is it? T-minus maybe 40 hours till I'm back in Austin.
Watch out.
I'm excited. I'm excited to go home. It's always nice to get back home, get the kids in school, get them in their rhythm and structure. But back to Roka, they've reinvented the category. You see it. You see Demi wearing them, and her entire team actually wearing them. They look so good. Whether it's on the sporting side, the casual side, or the prescription side. By the way, the prescription glasses have the same technology as all the glasses, right? So the lenses are scratch resistant, fog resistant, and they are the best optics on the market. The other thing I love about my readers, and I haven't mentioned this lately, is the hinge. All right.
Hinge.
For folks who lose their reading glasses, I bet you they don't hinge. Like my readers, look at this, these things right here. Watch this. It's just nice. It's clean, that hinge. So when you put them in your shirt and you bend over or whatever, they just don't fall out as easy. So the hinge is important.
Yeah, I like the hinge.
Yeah, right. Especially when you absolutely need them. The other cool thing about Roka is they work with the special forces, which I consider to be some of the best athletes in the world, certainly under the most pressure. You know, those guys and gals absolutely want the best products. Move listeners get 20% off. Just go to Roka, ROKA, that's Roka.com. Use the code THEMOVE for 20% off. Roka.com. And get your hinge on. As far as today goes, look, we talked about, I mean, I think to me, I saw two things. I saw, and I think we're safe to talk about this. There is widespread speculation that Demi Vollering is leaving SD Works and going to FDJ next year. I saw a little bit of friendly work there, a little maybe getting ahead of ourselves on that. I don't know. I mean, they do have riders that are up there and can climb, but they were
working pretty hard on the.
I feel like, and we'll see. Just this is an observation from today, and a heads up for tomorrow. I mean and that's kind of a strength or a nice thing to have for her. That hey, if I do start to lose some teammates, I may have this other option.
Well, and France was working hard on the front yesterday in the final part when they were bringing it back. And I felt like, why wasn't Canyon working? Why was it FDJ? So, I mean, I still think it should have put Canyon should have been the ones having to work, but it would have explained more of why they thought they needed to be up there. I don't know.
I mean, you could look at like Juliette Labousse, though, being a French rider, and she's sitting up there in GC. So there are reasons that Grace Brown is going on the front. But now, if Demi does go to FDJ, I'm pretty excited that she would, since she is losing that Rooster and a Kopecky. But if you look like Grace Brown, the current Olympic champion, the time trial, that's not a bad engine to have in your tool house there.
But didn't I hear on the coverage that she's retiring? That's what I thought.
Oh, shoot, she is. You're right. She is retiring.
And I thought that was interesting. I mean, you're Olympic gold medal. You're on that team.
Yeah, you're right.
You have a Demi coming. I started looking at this and thinking, might we do another year or two? Because you could be part of a pretty cool ride. Plus, you want to ride around at least a year, I think, with as the Olympic champion, if not more. That's what they said on the coverage.
No,
I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, she wrote a big piece on her social media that she misses her family and friends, husband, and she's Australian, and it's just moving to Europe and racing at that level and being so far away from her home. She wanted to retire, and she's had a great career, but ending it with that Olympic medal was incredible.
By the way, it's also kind of cool.
Yeah,
like just
going
mic
out
drop
on top.
Total mic drop.
Peace out.
But now I'm bummed I forgot that because I was hoping Demi, if she was going to FDJ, had the power of Grace Brown.
Yeah,
but
she's going to go back down under with that gold medal.
Oh yeah, she will.
Throw some cheap salt to Bobby, mate. Right. The other thing that stood out clearly, Kasia Niewiadoma not listening to the podcast.
No.
I don't. Look. Maybe it doesn't matter. It probably won't matter. It's just not. But then again, it might. Right? I don't. There's no reason.
I guess, that was my feeling.
There's no reason to attack. You have a lead. Tomorrow is very difficult. There's no reason to burn any energy, any calories, any kilojoules, whatever you want to call it today. Like you saw her in the last kilometer, couldn't follow Demi.
Yeah.
I mean,
Demi got seconds in
And they
the
gave them-
bonus seconds.
And they gave them same time, although they
Although
were
they
not
probably shouldn't.
they were
Yeah.
not same time.
That's the second time they've done that this tour.
Yep. And this is a true uphill mountain finish. That's just a mental win for Demi.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, she
And
was
I'm
even,
a huge fan. Y'all know that. I think it's ill-advised.
she was even working like when she was setting tempo on the climb when it was still a big group, which I thought was just,
She
kind
didn't
of
have
crazy.
any teammates.
And she didn't need to do it.
Yeah, and she was when Squibbon attacked, so she ended up second in the stage. She attacked from the big group, and she attacked, and who brought her back was Kasia. And there was still 12, 14 riders there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I found that interesting. But, perhaps she was just trying to also take time on her rivals going into the finish fast, like we've seen that happen in the men's tour as well.
It seems pretty clear, though, that she and Demi are, a level above. So there was, in my opinion, I couldn't understand why she was wasting any energy because should have been on Demi to have to try and get time. Katja didn't need to do anything.
That's a convenient thing to tell yourself that you're putting time into your rivals. You have one rival.
Yeah.
And you are not putting time into them. And you're showing yourself, you're on the front and giving her a chance to make a run at you, which she did.
Well, and she, Demi
one
got
rival.
the bonus seconds and the field was right there. So she worked that whole section and didn't gain anything from it, essentially.
And I actually don't think these climbs were as hard as we thought, or it wasn't raced as hard as we thought.
Oh, I'm going to break that. When we start talking about tomorrow,
Okay.
I have this all broken down, honey.
I'm looking down 1K to go, and I see riders in there that I'm like, you guys weren't climbing that hard.
These are 5%ers.
Yeah, I love a 5% climb.
I
Don't
know
get
you
me
do.
wrong.
I know.
I mean, it basically went right into Demi's hand today, the
Yep.
way that it was played out. And, I just don't understand why you would make it easy on Demi to do that,
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about this yesterday, if you combine the last two climbs from today, they're long. It's almost 13K, but these are 5%ers.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's steep.
Which, speaking of the 5%, and that's a climb that, I mean, I saw Lucinda Brand was still there, and amazing, world champion cyclocross racer, but a very pure power type of a rider, not known to be a climbing specific rider. And so something like that does suit like a rider like myself, a 5% time trial, all power, which I was shocked to see Faulkner get dropped today with how many people that were coming into that finish. Faulkner lost the pace pretty quickly on that last long. I'm going to call it one climb because
Look, she's had has to feel like a long few weeks. Like some point,
Yes.
at some point, the magic runs out. And,
Well, with a lot of pressure and stress and a lot of things going on track.
hopefully some
and road,
partying.
and- yeah. Doubtful now, maybe.
yeah.
I mean, a couple golds. Shit, I'd be down at the Moulin Rouge. I'm not even sorry. I got COVID. I can't come to the tour, y'all. But she's had a great few weeks.
She has, and she did say this morning that she didn't know how she would do in the longer climbs because she'd only been working on 5-minute power, basically. Which I would also say she's also been working on like 40-minute power due to the other efforts she's done. But so it was just interesting.
Anything else stand out on it today? I want to talk about tomorrow's big. Tomorrow obviously is big. This is it.
Well, I think that Voss kind of sealed up the green jersey.
That's right,
That's a
right.
big deal. She rode great today.
Where did that? Let me check these results here. Our friends over at Pro Cycling Stats. Look at this here.
They always have everything.
I mean, she's 170 points and Neodoma's 86 points. Right. So this is the green jersey. Is
Done.
Done. Right. Still have to finish the race. But she knows how to stay on her bike. Lorena Wiebes in third. Gosh, she's got to be leaving the tour going.
What happened?
Thank you. It took the words out of my mouth. Like, hang on.
Like, wait a second.
Wait a second. What just happened?
Yeah.
She's tough. She'll be back.
Well, I'm sure she was getting a lot of grief for that stage where they, lost Demi too. That's what it sounds like, at least in the press. She was, they were all feeling really bad about how she felt about it. I mean, she should have come back, but
seventh.
But yeah, she was
seventh was not
getting
worth
pretty hammered.
that. But
Agreed.
like go in thinking you're going to have all these great results and you come out of it just being, everyone's just hating on you. Totally different than what you expect.
Dang.
Yeah.
And she's Dutch, right? I mean, you wouldn't want to be that's a bad position to be in when the whole country and all the press in Holland are.
Oh, I thought
right
Demi
about
was
one
super
person.
gracious though to her.
Yeah, she
and,
was.
That's
really
class.
tried to smooth things over. Yeah.
Huh. Well, we're going to get
She's
into.
so nice.
Yeah, she is nice. I follow her on Instagram, and I'm like, really?
I know.
Are you
got a
really that
dog.
nice? It's funny,
She is really that nice.
There's always people like that. You're like, are you really that nice? And then about half the time, you're like, no. You're just a total asshole. And then the other half, you're like, really get to know them, and you're surprised, like, oh my God, you are actually that nice.
Yeah, I was DMing with her partner, Jan, this morning. And, he's talking about how much she does work on emotion, and she really performs through emotion and this positive mentality. And she talks about it a lot on mantras, but she practices breathing. And she just goes by feel. She goes by feel in training so often, from running or playing like with her dogs or camping in Switzerland. So much is just about enjoying life and really fueled by emotions. And so I could tell, though, that, she was a little angry about yesterday. So I'm still curious on tomorrow. So.
Well, it all comes down to tomorrow, which we are about to talk about. But before we do, today's show also brought to you by AG1. As I always say, it is about taking control of your health. Heads up, if you didn't listen a couple days ago, it's been a few days ago now, we had Dr. Jeremy Townsend on, who's with AG1. He really talked about the product, the best uses, the history, the ingredients, the effects. I thought it was really enlightening. So if you ever have questions about AG1, you could just go back a couple shows ago and look up his interview. It's towards the end of the show. But AG1 is a foundational nutritional supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut health support, and is backed by multiple research studies, which Dr. Townsend talks about. And so you can totally trust what you're putting in your body. The results of those online studies will be online very soon. He actually teased one out that I think was days away. So maybe by now it's come out. That'll be over on their website. If there's one product that I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1, and that's why I've partnered with them for so long. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Head on over to drinkag1.com/themove. That's drinkag1.com/themove.
I have like a question though, because I've been sitting over here in somebody else's seat
for a week,
and I didn't know if you were trying to like tell me something, but I got this AG1 plumber. Did George have a problem, or what was going on with this?
So here's for those who didn't listen to the men's tour, you're right, that has not moved, and that there is a packet for those just listening. There's a packet of there's an AG1 travel pack, rubber banded to the plunger, which by the way appears to have never been used. Thankfully.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
But,
different than my headphones.
George,
but yeah.
during the tour, George stayed with us. And so, like is the case anytime. No, for real. Anytime you have, 5, 6, 7 people staying. I mean, I have a lot of kids. And so, for that many people, one plunger is typically not enough. All right. All right. This is life lessons from the move. And so one day, something happened, got a little clog stuck, something. And I went looking, and sure enough, George had stolen the plunger.
Oh.
And so we bought him that plunger.
His own plunger.
But I feel bad, Allie, I feel bad for you, because not only have you sat next to George's plunger for a week, you also are using his ear things, which he's listening every day. He's at this point getting really mad at me. So George,
we love George.
Next year, this show will be brought to you by Q-Tip and
plungers.
Who made Rubbermaid? Like, who makes plungers?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Should we look this up? I bet you if we look on Urban Dictionary.
What? No. We've done enough Urban Dictionary this morning. No more.
We spent a lot of time in the pre-show looking up on the Urban Dictionary. If y'all get bored and you're a gravel racer, and you've ever been to Tucson, and you go to urbandictionary.com and look up the dirty lemon. Because Allie was she was talking about the dirty lemon this morning.
She's blushing again.
Oh, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on, her and Blaze, but the dirty lemon.
He's actually here today. He's out there.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear about it, Blaze. Now we got to put that thing away. I can't look at the plunger
Well,
anymore.
I kind of feel like we should have done a boomstick plunger, like maybe who had the best success after their athletic race.
All right, moving on. Have to talk about tomorrow. Just it's absolutely, and I think to me, and I want y'all's thoughts, like this is just a completely different day. If you look at the profile, let me pull it up here. First of all, no, that's today. Let's go to tomorrow. Let's get this right. 4,000 meters of climbing. That is, so for those who think in feet, what is that? That's over 13,000 feet of vertical climbing on a 149 kilometer stage. So call it 90 miles. I added it up. You have 44 kilometers of actually riding uphill.
Whoa. Which
I always liked. So out of 159, 44 of them, you're going uphill in some sort of way. What we saw today, which as we saw, Demi did not get back any time. These were 5% climbs. If you look at primarily the two climbs that we'll talk about for tomorrow, Col de Glandon and Alpe d'Huez. Alpe d'Huez speaks for itself, I think. But let's first talk about the Col de Glandon. 20 kilometers, 20. That's a long climb.
19.8, but yeah.
At 7.2%, which is already a big difference from 5%. Alpe d'Huez, 14 kilometers at 8%. Well, these are totally different.
And I think you have to look at where the steep parts of these climbs are too. So Col de Glandon, it's very steep at the top, which is going to be great for the climber. Anyone who could have hung on through the bottom sections are going to start having a real struggle if they're not gone by that point at the top. But then you have a quick descent, and then we all know that, Alpe d'Huez starts out with very steep at the bottom. So, for anyone who can get away and keep a gap, who's a good, the best climbers are going to be able to stay away better.
Have you raced up the Col de Glandon?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember it, but I recall the name. I also recall we got distracted talking about plungers and Q-tips and Urban Dictionary.
Well, I know, but speaking of looking at these climbs tomorrow, we
got to talk about we have to talk about Wahoo, because you will see a lot of Wahoos, and you'll see a lot of these ladies really relying on their Wahoos.
Think about the people that, were prepping for the Olympics and such and didn't have a chance to check out these climbs. Using the Wahoo Summit feature would be a great way to know that you have that 20% finish at the end there. That looks tough. Wahoo bike computers are proven in the peloton, used by 8 World Tour teams, and has a Summit feature, which we were just talking about, provides with colored gradients, detailed climb data, and even helps you detect climbs nearby. So I'm a big fan of my Wahoo bike computer. I use the Roam. A lot of the women are using the Bolt. It's a little smaller. The Roam has better mapping capabilities, and I in a larger screen. So for me, and my lack of focus and
believe me, I get it. I can't see anything. So
ability to get lost. I love the Roam, and then we always use our Speedplay pedals. I've been with Speedplay since 2009. Not only for aerodynamics, but also really important for different knee issues. And I've dislocated a lot of bones and broke a lot of bones in tennis and cycling. So Speedplay's been pivotal.
Light and stiff.
Yep, light and stiff. There you go.
Clip in on both sides. So many people struggle with clipless pedals, especially early on, because they're probably on some other brand where you can only clip in on one side. That for beginning cyclists, they get so nervous. And if you've ever been in a car and you see a newbie coming to the red light, you're like, this is not going to be good.
No.
How many times have you seen somebody tip over?
How many times has that been me? Wahoo cycling products are trusted by the pro peloton, as we can see. And we see the Wahoo's Element Bolt GPS bike computer on the handlebars of so many teams. Now you can save 20% on select full price products by using the coupon code THEMOVE 2024. So go to wahoofitness.com/TheMove and enter TheMove 2024 to save 20%. Clip in on both sides. Don't get lost, and use that Summit feature.
That's right. And I'm assuming Demi, obviously, Demi's previewed Alpe d'Huez dozens of times by now. I'm assuming Neodoma has as well.
It sounded like she had previewed all the courses. Race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, especially after how we saw Neodoma ride today. I mean, she was trying to do everything, and I'm wondering if that's going to take a little out of her for these portions that are really difficult tomorrow.
I mean, look at the Glen. I mean, look at Col de Glandon. I mean, look at this. It is a
wow.
And this is where averages can be deceiving, right? What I see more red and black than I see anything. So when you see the green, if you're listening, just bear with us. When you see those green sections, that's really screwing with the average. Look at those 2.6% down at the bottom, 2.5%, even the blue section, 5.8%. But then you start to get into the other stuff. Look at the last 2 kilometers, 10.8, 11.5. I mean, it's a very difficult climb, which may or may not affect the race at that point, but it's going to
add up
a lot of zing out of the legs for folks. And then it's basically straight down, and then you run over to Alpe d'Huez.
Well, and I think a lot of people, the style of racing we saw today was probably because of the expectation of tomorrow, because obviously that third spot is important to try and get on the podium. Yeah. And I think most people realized if they could conserve energy today, they might do better tomorrow, and are just deciding that it wasn't worth trying to break it up today. That's
a big question mark.
Yeah,
I think we could all say we know who's either first or second or vice versa.
Yeah, but third is wide open.
Third is the race.
Yeah.
So if y'all are looking for, but obviously it'll be fun to watch. I have a question for both y'all. I mean, how did Demi look today? Like, y'all know her a lot better than I do. Just looking at her, what did you notice?
I noticed that at first I was a little concerned. I felt like she was doing her breathing exercises, which she kind of has a very trademark, like, kind of puffs out the cheeks a little bit. And I think it's a part of her rhythm and her breathing work she does in her meditation and yoga practices. So I was nervous that she was doing that to calm herself down because she didn't feel well, or, was trying to see how she felt, because, that was a really hard crash. And this is the first time she's really been tested, at least in a climb, since the crash. And then coming into the finish, she did one little move, which was just that seated, namaste, whatever you call it. But she has a little seated acceleration. I think she was just testing herself. So I'm going to say that she looks okay, but I don't think she looked as confident as we've seen her in the past. And I think she's in some pain.
Yeah, I kind of took the same thing away from it. I didn't think she looked as sharp as normal, but I didn't think she looked bad. No. And it was still the two of them above everyone else. So.
Right. Well, tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day.
Right, I mean, there's no, and it's a lot of time. A minute 16.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's a lot of time. And that means she can't wait. I mean, she can wait till Alpe d'Huez, but you just can't wait. Where does it say there? Yeah.
Minute 15.
I mean, you cannot wait to the end. You just got to go. And Alpe d'Huez is hard enough where I've been there. I've done that, right? You can go from the bottom if you feel good enough.
Well, and it's so steep. It's going to get a huge separation there no matter what. But if she really goes.
Is your name on Alpe d'Huez?
And I was curious about it. My name is on Alpe d'Huez. We have our good friend, Jimmy Riccatello, sent me this picture. He was over there riding recently. And for those who don't know, if you win Alpe d'Huez, which I did twice, they put your name. There's 21 switchbacks. And so every switchback has one of these placards. And they've done it enough times that they now have to put more than one name on there. But I shared this particular placard with my old director sportif, Henny Kuiper, who won in 1977. This is from my win in 2004. And on one of the other switchbacks, from the win in 2001. But Mar, you said that they're going to start adding.
Well, I did hear that they're going to start adding the women to it. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. It's amazing to have a woman's name on there. Would be incredible.
If we're going to go do it and race up Alpe d'Huez, I think they should absolutely do that.
I think so too. And I think Demi's going to get some extra energy from the Dutch, corner,
that's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to be an epic crowd out there. We've seen great crowds the whole time.
And they've got it, as we know, because we've been up early watching the stages. These stages have been finishing at 8 a.m. our time, which is, gosh, what is that? It's like 4 p.m. over there. This one, so it's a Sunday evening. They've got it pushed back all the way till 7 p.m. That has to be an Alpe d'Huez, like, let's get it going kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We cannot finish before happy hour.
Right? You're just hoping that people aren't riding down in the dark,
Well, we're not. We're just worried about the women in the race. We're not going to worry.
We are worried about the women in the race.
About the people at happy hour. But it could be rocking, right?
Yeah. It will be rocking.
You got to figure, from 5:30, 6 p.m. on, the entire field will be on Alpe d'Huez, and sun going down, happy hour, Dutch corner.
It's going to be awesome.
Mountain.
Yeah.
I think the one thing is going to be very interesting tomorrow is watching Puck.
Yeah.
So,
she's one of the ones, right?
Yes. So she's sitting up there in GC still. She's in the Best Young Riders jersey. And this will be, once again, her first stage race in her life. And I heard it was only her 10th road race ever. basically. And so, I mean, she could be getting fatigued on stage 8, and it's going to be the longest climb for her. But I think she's a good pick for a possible podium. And obviously, I think she'll keep the best young rider, and hopefully she just doesn't crack completely. But I don't know. I think she's going to be an interesting one to watch. We don't know.
What a way to start your stage race career. I've never done one of these, but I finished on my first time I did one. I was podium in the Tour de France.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I think another one we're going to watch kind of climb a bit. And it's surprising she held on as well as she did through the flatter stages is Gaia on Trek. She should move up on these steep climbs.
She was better today.
She was better today.
We've seen her a lot because she was, had the mechanical, was behind the car, got penalized, lost time 2 days ago. But she was there today.
Yeah.
She was looking better today.
Yeah, often, and I think this holds true for both men's and women's pelotons. You often, I mean, I'll never, the one person I always think of, and I'm aging myself here, is we had a great climber in America named Michael Carter. Michael Carter might have been 110 pounds. I mean, this boy could climb.
Yeah.
But it's bike racing. It's different, right? You gotta get through the first week. You gotta get, even if it's a mountain stage, you've got to get to the bottom of the climb. You have to fight for position. She strikes me as somebody like that. That the NASCAR element of cycling, right? The rubbing and racing and all that is harder for her.
Yeah, I mean, you can end up wasting so much energy that you can't show your actual how good you are because your tank is half empty by the time you get to the important part.
And the stress.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with her tomorrow. But I do think she obviously wastes a ton of energy on the flat stages, but maybe yesterday and today she's recovering a little bit and then now going to be able to do something.
So we got a bunch of storylines.
Yeah.
Right. Who wins the Tour de France? Who ends up on the podium?
It's going to be awesome.
I can't believe it happened this way.
Yeah. on Alpe d'Huez. Okay.
At sunset.
At happy hour.
At happy hour.
By the way, how are those happy hours? It's been a minute for this old boy.
We have no idea.
Well, no, that's not true. I have no idea. We have some fun comments.
We'd love comments.
Oh, there's a real shocker from this first one here. At R League 685. Wow. I just became a PFP fan.
I mean, come on.
Finally.
Come on, R League 685. No, that's good. There's the move. But yeah, she got a lot of fans.
Yeah.
So R League 685 just joined the club. She got a big fan club. He loved the part. Train hard, or you know what? R League 685. I don't know if that's a guy or a girl. Train hard, eat well, go to bed early. That's what R League loved about it. Tom B91381. Where do we come up with these things? So he says, Tom. This is Tom. So I've been watching the Tour de France since early days. Back in the day, it was just a few minutes on TV on Wide World of Sports. All the interviews were strictly in French, and all the riders had to learn the language. It was the primary language of cycling. Flash forward on the TV, and virtually every interview gets done also in English. Is that a sign of the times, or what do y'all think?
100%. Yeah. I mean, everything's in English now. So it is a sign of the times. That's changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm often surprised at how many of the riders speak English.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'll switch to their own, for other broadcasts to switch to Dutch or Italian. I don't know. When I was on Astana, Italian was the language. So I had to learn Italian because race direction wasn't done in English. So,
well, I think they were the last ones pretty much. They held on to wanting to have it in their language. But, with all the Dutch and the German and all those countries, all of them speak such good English. They don't want to hear you speak German or try to speak Dutch. So,
but you're right. I mean, those kids a lot of times grow up watching English shows that are subtitled in their native language. But when you get down into the French and the Spanish and the Italians, they don't, right?
No.
So you're starting to see them speak English. It's Formula One-esque, right? You could never imagine a world now where you race in Formula One and don't speak English, right? Whether you're giving interviews or interacting with the engineers or the fans, it's all in English.
No. We're
sort of moving that way. Star Blazers 01 says, Ashley Mumapasso is the female Johan Brunel.
Ooh, she was very smart and savvy.
I got that vibe.
I know.
I got that vibe.
I think we're gonna have to bring her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
I got
awesome.
that vibe. They loved her professional input. It was spot on. That's all for the comments. We also, and I didn't know this yesterday. Actually, shit. Does the Vuelta start today?
Oh my gosh, yes, it does.
It does start today because the guys did a Vuelta preview.
It literally coverage just started.
Today's Saturday.
Yeah. It just started like
You're so into the women's, you didn't even think about
I'm
that.
so into the women's, and you know what else? I'm ready to stop talking about cycling, to be candid. But yeah, started today. Can Sepp Kuss defend his title? Fun little, let's just have a little fun. Like, who's going to win this thing? Sepp Kuss, Primoz Roglic, Adam Yates. I would not bet against Adam Yates or João Almeida.
bet against or bet for.
I wouldn't bet against Adam Yates.
Really?
Adam Yates is stone cold killer. Mikel Landa, Carlos Rodriguez. Does he break through there? Does Roglic? I think the big question mark is, does Roglic recover from his crash?
Can Roglic not crash for once? Would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big Roglic fan, don't get me wrong.
I am
But I feel like in his team meetings, he's like, and then I crash.
Right.
And they're like, no, but then you win. He's like, no, but then I crash.
Yeah. Well, he started. That's why he got to cycling, because he crashed in ski jumping.
I'm such a fan though. And
I am too.
And to see Sepp up there, it'll be interesting to see what Visma Lisa Bike does with Sepp. Like, do they support him or do they look at other options?
Yeah, I love Sepp.
But yeah, Sepp's an incredible kid from, not a kid anymore at all. He's like married with children probably, but
Is he from Durango?
he's from Durango.
Yeah.
He came up from the NICA program that we were talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is he? Mid-20s, right?
Mid-20s,
26.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all young. Well, folks, it comes down to tomorrow, and we teed it up perfectly for y'all. It's in the perfect environment, the perfect stadium, perfect setting. We are going to find
wait.
out. Yeah, I mean, this is, and we all get to sleep in a little bit.
Yeah, I can sleep in.
nice.
Or do we just work out sooner?
I'm fine to work out.
Yeah. All right. You get up early.
Tomorrow's my last day in Aspen, so I'm thinking about getting done with stage and going for a long solo mountain bike ride. I love
That'd be
that.
nice. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Riding around. I've got a ride set up with my favorite person,
Yourself.
me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Everybody. By the way, that's not a dickhead comment. Everybody is supposed to think that way. Make sure you listen, like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast: Apple, Spotify, iHeart. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow and see what happens.
All right. Let's get it on.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.